I remember the first time I heard about the doverdemon. It wasn't in a documentary or some online forum. It was on a deserted road, surrounded by tall trees, while a local friend told me about the creature that still lurks in the fields of Dover. He said that if you drive late at night along those narrow roads, you might see something crossing your path. Something small, but wrong. Hairless, with smooth grayish skin, an oversized head, and glowing orange eyes that seem to stare straight into your soul. They say the doverdemon never attacked anyone, but they also say that those who saw it were never the same again. The question is, what exactly did the people of Dover see that spring of 1977? An alien being, a mutation, or something that came from a much darker place? Dover is a small town in Massachusetts, one of those postcard-perfect American towns. Old houses, dense forests, and a silence only broken by the distant sound of crickets and the whisper of wind through the trees. But in April 1977, that peace was shattered by something no one could explain. For 2 consecutive nights, 4 teenagers reported encounters with a creature that, to this day, defies logic and science. The being became known as the doverdemon, one of the most intriguing and chilling cases in modern cryptozoology. The story drew the attention of investigators, ufologists, and journalists, all trying to uncover what happened that week. But what they found was an even greater mystery. No consistent explanation, no solid evidence, and a series of testimonies so vivid and coherent that it became hard to dismiss them as lies. The doverdemon appeared during a fascinating moment in American history. The 1970s were marked by waves of sightings, strange creatures, UFOs, and unexplainable phenomena. The Mothman had already left its trail of terror in Point Pleasant a decade earlier. UFO fever was spreading across the nation, and people were becoming obsessed with the unknown. But what makes the doverdemon so unsettling is the lack of pattern. It didn't act like an animal, it wasn't human, and unlike other legendary creatures, it was never seen before or after those 3 days. Some believe it came from another world. Others say it was a failed military experiment that escaped. And there are those who swear it was something spiritual, an apparition, a physical manifestation of a dark omen. And here's where it gets even stranger. Every witness described it slightly differently, but they all agreed on one thing. The creature's eyes were not of this world. It was the night of April 21st, 1977 when it all began. A 17-year-old boy named Bill Bartlett was driving along a winding road called Farm Street in Dover with 2 friends beside him. The road was dark, lined with ancient stone walls and tall trees that formed a tunnel of shadows. The headlights of the car cut through the darkness, revealing only fragments of the path ahead. Then something appeared at the edge of the light. For a moment, Bill thought it was a dog or a cat, but when the headlights illuminated it fully, he realized he was looking at something completely different. The creature stood balanced on a stone wall, its limbs long and thin, its skin hairless and its head enormous, shaped like a melon. Its large glowing eyes reflected an orange hue, bright, hypnotic, and almost intelligent. Bill said the being seemed curious, as if it was studying the car, aware but emotionless. The encounter lasted only a few seconds before the car passed, but it was enough to leave a mark on him. That same night when he got home, Bill drew what he had seen, a sketch that would become the most famous depiction of the doverdemon. Just hours later, another teenager, John Baxter, was walking home along a nearby road. He saw something too. At first, he thought it was a small child, until he noticed the strange, almost crawling way the figure moved, as if it struggled to walk upright. When he got closer, the creature stopped and stared at him, crouched low, its eyes glowing in the dark. Terrified, Baxter ran and hid behind a rock. When he looked again, it was gone. The next day, a third witness, a young woman named Abby Brabham, reported seeing an identical creature near a bridge. But this time its eyes were green, and its skin looked grayer than peach-colored as described before. 3 sightings, 3 different locations, 3 witnesses with no connection to one another, all within less than 48 hours. Police investigated but found nothing, no tracks, no hair, no evidence of intrusion. Nothing. Yet the witnesses' descriptions were precise and consistent, too similar to be a collective mistake. When the local press got wind of the story, the name doverdemon was born. And soon, ufologists and cryptid researchers from across the country took interest. Among them was Loren Coleman, one of the leading American cryptozoologists. He interviewed all the witnesses and concluded that each seemed to be telling the truth. None of them sought fame. None of them profited from their story. But what was the doverdemon? Some experts suggested it could have been a deformed foal, an escaped lab monkey, or even a mutant creature. Others were bolder, claiming it was an extraterrestrial being, lost after a crash landing. What no one could explain was the eyes. Every witness described the same sensation. When the creature's eyes met theirs, time seemed to stop. A pure, primal fear, one that defied reason. And after those days in 1977, the doverdemon was never seen again. No new reports, no trace, as if it had appeared only to be remembered and vanished back into the same silence from which it came. I decided to visit Dover. Years after hearing the story, I needed to see for myself the place where it all happened. It was a cold afternoon, the kind where the wind seems to carry old voices. The streets were quiet, and the little town had that eerie sense of normalcy, the kind that hides something just beneath the surface. I got in my car and drove down Farm Street. The road is still narrow, lined with ancient stones and towering trees. The vegetation feels alive, not in a beautiful way, but as if it's watching your every move. I stopped the car exactly where Bill Bartlett had seen the creature for the first time. For a moment the silence was absolute. No birds, no rustling leaves, only the wind tapping against the windows and a strange pressure in the air, thick and heavy, as if something unseen was nearby. And then the question hit me. Why did the doverdemon appear for only 2 days? If it was an animal, where are the bones, the tracks, the remains? If it was extraterrestrial, why come here and then vanish without a trace? As I stared at the moss-covered stones, I imagined the scene from 1977, headlights slicing through the dark, revealing that distorted head, those fixed, glowing eyes. And suddenly, I felt something, a presence. I didn't see anything, but for a brief instant I swear I noticed 2 orange points of light among the trees, as if someone or something was watching me back. The legends say the doverdemon was never violent, but that it chooses who can see it, and those who do never forget. Not because it harms them, but because its gaze changes something inside you, a realization that the world is far bigger and far darker than you ever imagined. Some locals claim it still appears, but in different ways. People report sudden chills or small footprints in the mud, even when there's been no rain. And some swear that on the quietest nights, those orange eyes still glow among the stones of Dover, observing the human world with the same cold curiosity it had in 1977. I don't know what I saw that night on the road. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks in the dark. But it's strange how even years later, when I close my eyes, I can still see that faint orange glow. Still waiting. The case of the doverdemon remains unexplained. No physical evidence, no new sightings, but the stories endure, and their consistency is what makes them truly terrifying. 4 young witnesses in different places at different times, all describing the same creature. And what's most intriguing is that none of them ever sought fame. Bill Bartlett, for instance, always avoided the spotlight. He became an artist, but to this day he admits that moment never left his mind. And when asked if he believes in monsters, he simply says, "I know what I saw, and it wasn't human." Maybe the doverdemon was nothing more than a shared illusion, a trick of the mind born from fear and darkness. Or maybe it was a fleeting glimpse of something that wasn't supposed to be here, something that appeared, observed, and returned to wherever it came from. But if there's one thing I learned visiting Dover, it's that silence holds more than secrets. Sometimes the calmest, most peaceful places are exactly where the unexplainable likes to hide. And as the wind whispers through the trees and the night covers the lonely roads of New England, one question still echoes. What if the doverdemon is still out there, waiting for the right moment to be seen again?